So what's happened here, just before we rev up the engine and show you how it operates, we'll kind of review what we talked about last week. If you look over in the water, look down in the water, you can see the pond leaf up at the surface. And Mark, can you explain what we call topping out? Because typically you want to harvest the plant once it's topped off through the surface.
Yeah, again, this year's a little different what we've seen in the past. In past years, we've seen this curly leaf about this time of year hit the surface and start to go lateral.
So actually emerging into the air.
It is, yep. Mm-hmm. This year it seems to be stunted just a little bit. The leaves are brown.
Yeah, I can see
the
that
rest
brown
of the
color.
plant is green, so it's still viable.
So we think that was due to that frost that we had about 10 days ago.
Correct.
Might have stunted the plant.
That's
so it's
the
not
best
topping
guess.
off. So does that make it harder to harvest?
It does, because you have to be able to see your cut line to come back and make another pass. We have a 5-foot wide cut, and when we have a gloomy or a cloudy, what I call a flat light day, it's real tough to see your cut lines. If you throw a little wind into it, it makes it harder yet with the ripples to see where you have already cut.
Well, even though it's kind of hard to see right now, I can see some narrow lanes where the vegetation has been cleared. Can you explain? That's not what your boat did. That's what a...
Yeah, that's what we call a prop trail. Anytime a boat goes through this curly leaf pondweed, even though it's not completely emerged, you're cutting weeds with a prop, and we see that with recreational boats, fishing boats, and work boats.
So when when those regular recreational boats go through and cut, that weed doesn't get removed out of the water, so it ends up in big clumps like we see over here, correct?
Yes, yeah. This is all prop cuttings that has floated into the upwind side of where we've been working. The wind's been out of the southeast all week, so this is stuff that has sort of moved to the other side of the lake because of the change in the wind directions last week.
So we'd like to encourage people to follow the traffic lanes that have been cleared out already, so that doesn't happen.
Definitely.
Right?
The perimeters of East Lake where the treatment took place, it looks like it was real successful. So there's clear boating if you stay below wake speed at the end of the docks. You guys should be able to enjoy a good drive around the lake.
So as we talked about last week, the Iowa Department of Natural Resources did some chemical treatment along the perimeter of the shoreline. So we'll probably, then you go in and you harvest that area?
We concentrate on the areas where there wasn't chemical treatment. Our goal is to create trails, and the ultimate goal is to take biomass out of the water.
Oh, so you make the trails that go across the lake?
Correct, correct. And the benefit of the aquatic harvesting is you are removing that biomass. You're taking those nutrients back out of the system, which includes the phosphates and nitrates also.
Well, shall we see how this machine operates?
Yep, we'll rev her up a little bit. The front part of this is our cutter head. It's a 5-foot wide cut, 5 foot deep. We'll lower that in and load the bed as it gets cut right below us, what we call a storage tray.
Okay, let's rev her up.
This up.
And it's all entirely curly leaf pondweed. You don't really see any other kinds of species of aquatic plants there. So Mark, typically you'd have a crew with you?
Yeah, we do this harvest project with a support boat. So as this boat fills up, we can offload it onto our second, what we call our transport boat, and go to shore while we keep the machine cutting on site. If you want, we can head to shore.
Okay.
Show you that part of the operation. We'll stop our cutting here and we'll paddle on over a little faster to shore. We'll let him back in the water. Nice little bluegill. Drop it cutters are just like you see on somebody who would cut alfalfa or maybe a bean head for soybeans. Just nickel teeth that rotate back and forth.
The teeth on the cutter, that's how it works. It looks like shark jaws.
Yes. Five-foot cut depth. Yeah.
And what level do you like to cut at?
Right at 5 foot. Yeah, we're trying to maximize the amount of material we take out, so we want to try to get a full cut.
And this is the optimum time of year.
It is. For the curly leaf pondweed, the harvest window is fairly short, depending on when the ice goes out. But we have a limited time before this stuff lays down and puts all that material back on the bottom of the lake.
So you are hired by the Iowa Department of Natural Resources.
Actually, we're hired by the City of Orleans in coordination with the DNR-approved Corporation. They're the ones that sort of got this whole project going, and they generate the funds for it. The state of Iowa does have some grant money that goes towards the project, and our local biologist Mike Hawkins helps advise and help sort of with the project on advisory level.
So this is a really great example of a community partnership with the Iowa Department of Natural Resources and private business.
Absolutely. You know, a key to any vegetation management plan in the community, what I've learned traveling all through the United States is a community effort. I mean, the citizens, the protective associations, the businesses, everybody's got to work together on it.
Yeah. So here's a shout out to the East Okoboji Lakes Improvement Corporation. If you're not a member, if you become a member, you will support projects like this and other water quality projects. We're heading to shore now.
So what we'll do is we'll back into our offload site at this location. And depending on what part of the lake we're working on, we have 3 different offload sites set up if we need them. It works good
around the lake?
Yeah.
Depending on which way the wind's coming from?
And what part of the lake we're cutting on.
Yeah. So this travels at how fast?
Top speed on this bad boy is 2.9 mile an hour.
No wonder I'm holding on to my hat. Oh, I lost my hat.
You got to go to the other end of the lake. You better bring your line. See, this is where we've been offloading. In a day and a half, we've already taken about 75 loads out of here.
75 loads in a day and a half?
Yeah. That we cut, you can see our storage conveyor moving to the back. As we cut, we fill that up, and you'll see them coming by here. That's how we offload. We offload out of the back of the machine.
So we did about that much in 3 minutes.
Yeah, we can fill this whole machine up in about 10 minutes of cutting on curly weed. So we'll turn it off and see if we can bounce down to shore or stay here.
Oh, this is kind of a nice view from up here.
Yeah, I like the view from up here. We're setting plenty high off the water.
Yeah. So we have a pile of curly pondweed over there. So that's how many hours work?
We started at 4. That's about 4 hours worth of work. We did, that's about 14 loads this morning.
What time did you start this morning?
3 a.m.
How could you see in the dark?
We have LED lights on all our machines.
I see.
And nighttime's the best time to work. Yeah,
really?
Absolutely. We don't have to worry. The wind usually is less.
Mm-hmm.
And when the light's on the water, you can see your cut lines real nice.
Really? So tell us about this.
This is a Trimble system. This is the 250 model. It's an Easy Guide 250 in the ag community. We utilize this a lot to get back to our cut lines. So it's not visible. You have to get to the right part on the water.
Yeah, I suppose once you're in the middle of the lake, it's hard to know where you left off.
Right. With this GPS system, I can get us right back to where we just cut for those 3 minutes. It saves a lot of time getting back to your cut line.
Yeah. So you come back, your conveyor belt moves the plants off, and you have a
little mini excavator. So we utilize that to keep the piles clear on the shore, so we can come in with another load. And we'll just stockpile and build that pile up and start hauling from there with a truck and trailer.
So a lot of people are curious what happens to the plants that are removed.
We're real fortunate. We have a great location to go to. We go to Sam Whittaking Construction right to the north of Orleans here, and he uses it for 100% composting operation.
There's probably a lot of nutrients in those plants.
Yeah. I'm fortunate. We go up there and it works great for the both of us. And I actually this spring bought some of my own material back. I bought some black dirt that was made with the composted material, so I had to give him a hard time about that.
Well, you were telling us that this is really mostly water, so you kind of let it sit and dry out for a little bit.
Yeah, it helps during the process of the harvesting when we're doing the cutting. By having it on shore, we're draining some of the water out of the plant material, so we're not hauling all that extra weight when we go to compost it.
And then that pile of plants there probably weighs how many pickup loads worth?
Oh, this one boat is about 4,000 pounds of plant material. So, easily 40,000 pounds sitting on shore this morning.
Wow.
Your average full-size truck is, I'm guessing 8,000 to 9,000 pounds, a bigger truck, yeah.
Well, do we have any questions coming in from our viewers?
We have a question from Adam. He says, how often do you get wildlife on the boat?
Occasionally we do get some fish, but if they're small enough, they drop through the chain. And if they're big enough, they stay swimming away. Crappie and bluegill, we'll see some small ones come on. And if we can, we'll reach down and kick them back out. Turtles, I stop the boat and let them back out. When I work some smaller ponds with harvesters, you'll get some painted turtles, some snapping turtles that come up there uninjured. And we got turtle mode. We can reverse that chain and put them back in the water.
Well, there's somebody foraging already. Do you have any other questions?
It looks like the only one for now.
Okay, well, if you still have some questions, you can always send them to us, and we'll get you questions answered. And I want to thank Mark Petersen from Underwater Solutions for coming out today and showing us. And if you have any more questions, you can go to his website, and he provides other services as well.
Underwatersolutions.com. We work on this curlew project right now. We actually have the crews working on some private properties in another spot on East Lake. But yeah, give us a call if you have any questions, even if you just want to talk about vegetation. As you can tell, I love the topic.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much and have a great weekend.